Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would do a video on build updates and also show you a new SV miner I've been working on and actually completely finished already. So I plan on bringing that in a playthrough video soon, hopefully. But I got asked a lot of questions about some of these UC creations. Basically, got three of them now. There's this Camp UC, which is a super inexpensive player base. I did modify this since I've been using it in playthrough games. I try to spiff it up a little bit, but you can't do much with it based on what it is. Also got this Merc UC, or Ultra Cheap, and this was based on a question that I had on this one. One of the comments asked, wouldn't it be a better idea basically to go with a SV rather than an HV for early game get around vehicle, and that's kind of what this thing is. It's if we take a look at the stats, it's really cheap. I use this in a couple playthroughs, or well, partial playthroughs so far, and it was just a very cheap, inexpensive HV. It unlocks at player level 3. It moves from point A to point B. It's got some boxes on it. In fact, this one's got 6 boxes on it. But honestly, even if you fill all those boxes up, the performance really drops severely on this, and it doesn't have all that great a performance to start with. So it, it's all right. It's pretty inexpensive. Quick spawn time, doesn't need anything special. So in comments, I was asked, wouldn't it be a better idea to go with a SV rather than an HV? Now, the HV on a planet like this one, like a desert planet or Omicron or something like that, it's not so bad. You can get around all right. But if you're on a swamp planet or planet with a lot of trees and things, it's HVs are not easy to move around from point A to point B. So I had it in my mind that SVs were going to be a lot more expensive than an HV, especially because this doesn't need thrusters, because these particular really low-end HV hover engines actually count as thrusters as well. So you don't need to put any thrusters on here at all. You just have the 4 engines and it moves. And so it's pretty inexpensive. But I wanted to find out what it would take to do the same thing with a SV instead. So that's what this one is, a Merc UC, and this is a SV. It's actually here. I'll turn it on to. We take a look at the stats on this one. It is definitely a lot faster than the hover vessel over there. It does unlock at level 5. It is a little more expensive. But it's not crazy more expensive, but it is a little more expensive. Definitely needs more carbon substrate, and it actually has less boxes too. This one only has 2 boxes in it. Other than that, it's the same thing. It does have both these have detectors. Both of these have a oxygen tank in them, so you can basically put in oxygen and be okay in whatever environment that you're in. On the inside, but this thing is insanely faster and easier to get around, much easier to get around. So honestly, I think this is a better idea here. And I'm trying to avoid showing you a new miner too much right now. So basically, it was a question that I thought was pretty cool, and I wanted to find out how it would compare going from HV to SV on this. Now, another big question too is, am I going to get these UC creations to the workshop? And I think I will. It'll take a little bit. I might kind of, I almost need to do like a mass release, and I don't really want to flood the workshop all at once, and that's kind of a problem. But I don't know. I do want to get some of these out. I think they would be kind of useful. I would like this one out on the workshop. This one I'm not so sure about. I guess let me know what you think on it. It is what it is. It's super cheap. It doesn't really do much besides moving around, but it unlocks at player level 3 and only really requires a maximum of, I think, 100 iron is its biggest resource cost, and then other than that, just your basics. But I definitely think this one is a better thing. I'd rather hold off and have a little bit more resources and get this at player unlock level 5 instead of 3 on that one. Once you have this, you can get around a whole lot easier typically than you can with this one. So that's those two. One other UC creation I want to take a look at here real quick is the Camp UC. So I've been using this in the playthroughs, and I modified this version of it. So this is an updated version over what I was using. There's not much different about it. I tried to dress it up a little bit more, changed some of the base blocks on it, added a couple more pieces just to give it a little bit more decorative stuff. And I also increased its box count to 10 rather than 6. It really didn't make it much more expensive at all because I was able to get rid of the glass on the roof and replace it with blocks. So what this basically is, and we'll look at the stats here real quick, is it's a super cheap base. It's meant to put in underground, basically, like in a mining tunnel or something like that. It doesn't have any defenses. It's super flimsy. I mean, if anybody came shooting at it, it would disintegrate pretty quickly. Although it is steel blocks and it's regular glass, but it has no defenses or anything like that. But the whole thing is about being super cheap for what it is. So 5-minute and 28-second build time unlocks at player level 3. Requires just your basic stats, 260 iron and carbon, and iron would be the biggest 2 stats, but you're still going to need some silicon and copper. So what this thing is about, it's you can kind of see it, at least not in a cave this time. I tried to do everything super cheap. It's not like a build for looks at all. So out of this thing actually is where it stores all its pieces, like your core and your generator, fuel tank, O2, and Wi-Fi. And then on the inside, basically it's airtight. All these boxes that I'm using in here are airtight, so they don't look like it, but they are. So it does have oxygen on the inside here. It does come with a small constructor, an O2 machine over here, or dispenser, and then a fridge and food processor. Now, one other thing about it is the glass pieces are all on the outside of the build, so all the block space you see on the inside is usable. So you can like plop in a advanced constructor or more small constructors or medical equipment or whatever else you think is needed to have in this little tiny base here. With the 10 boxes, each one of these boxes does 16K of storage. That's 160K of storage. Of course, it's not in a fancy controller or anything like that. It is all kind of separated, and I did try to label a lot of that in here too. I wish the labels look like they're all over the place right now, but it's got labeled boxes. I added 3 ore boxes and another box for loot, I think, in here, besides the input-output, fuel O2. Basically, it's whatever you want to use it for, but this one, I kind of like the idea of it. It's alternative to other ways of starting the game, and it kind of works. It's just, again, it's not meant to spawn on the surface of a planet because it's so vulnerable. If I add in all the stuff to make it defendable, even if I run sensory guns and then it needs ammo, I'll just keep on ramping the cost of this up. And again, it's meant to go in a mining tunnel or something like that where basically the AI can't attack you. They don't know how to deal with that kind of thing, as far as I know. So there is this one too, and this is something I was thinking about getting to the workshop. I wish there was another way I could do it without like doing a full release and just get this in everyone's hands. And I'm trying to think of a way to do that. I could do that only if you're like affiliated with like the Anvil server or a certain Discord, but I'd rather just get it to the workshop. So yeah, all 3 of these creations, please let me know what you think on that, if I should try to get all these out to the workshop, if anything you want to use here. All right, next part I want to talk about here is the SCM and the new miner. So this one, I've been using it, got a good amount of playtime with it now, and it has a number of issues. Has a number of things I wanted to improve upon a new miner. If you did watch the playthrough videos, you'd probably realize that I said a few times that I wish I would have went with 4 drills and 1 gun. So this one has 2 guns and 3 drills. So I was kind of looking at that and thinking, well, yeah, I'd like to do a new miner and try to build it exactly right and try to fix all the problems that I have with this one. So to point out some other issues with this one has to do with the lighting or the spotlight position. Basically, it's like shining a flashlight directly in front of the wall in front of your face, where you can see a little bit of brightness right in front of you, but you can't see anything else around you, like in a dark room. I found that to be really annoying, especially if you're mining at night in a mining tunnel. It's like you can't see what's going on hardly at all, and that's annoying. So in comments, I noticed there was a comment that suggested moving the the mining light back a few blocks so it would shine on the wall area better, and that makes total sense to me. So I definitely wanted to implement that in a new miner. Another thing, besides the 3 drill setup here, it's always probably best. Although on this one I was thinking that the actual mechanical drills had a larger radius than what they used to. I don't think that's actually true. So anything that goes out above or beyond the side of the drill, the more blocks and things you have going on like that, the more likely you are to get kind of tripped up in a mining tunnel. And this one using 3 drills, and also the lower drills are not at the bottom block area, so it's not exactly perfect there. Another issue I had with it is not necessarily a design flaw on this. It's just the ramps are problematic. Often in game, now it's not doing it right here because I'm on pretty flat ground, but often the ramp, when I walk up to it, it would just start closing, and then I couldn't get in the vehicle. It was kind of annoying. It would do it frequently. So I kept on having to like wait for the ramp to fully come down and things like that. So I didn't really want a ramp on the new one. Another issue I had with this one is if you're tilted a little bit in the pilot seat, say a little bit to the right, you actually get out and it would dump you out in this area like you'd be stuck between the seat and the armor locker over here, and then you'd have to like get back in the seat, wiggle the thing around so you can get out. That was kind of getting annoying as well. And another issue is later on I realized that I really wanted a constructor in it, and I modified this one in game here a little bit, and I removed these 3 blocks, and I popped in the constructor, but then I realized it didn't have enough power to be mining and doing any processing with the constructor at the same time. It would overtax it. So basically it would need more power. Now you can put more power into this. It does have an extra generator slot. That was mainly needed to keep the shield operational, or if you threw in the 2 basic CPU cores, a pentaxa tank, and a shield, that was pretty much meant to keep that going. But you can't just add another generator in this without adding a basic CPU block first to get that constructor going. So that was another issue. So I think that's the bulk of the issues I was having with this build here. Other than that, it did work. It does mine. It's very prone to getting stuck and tripped up in mining tunnels. So with all those things said, I built this new one here, and this is the Scarab SM1. It is, as far as I know, completely finished at this point in time. So to start with, this one is it's very similar in price to the SCM, but it is doing 4 drills and 1 gun. You notice 1 asymmetrically placed gun over here, at least stock. You could, well, it's not really built for a second gun there, at least. Also, what changed? Big time change in the drill pattern. It's actually taller. The drills have 5 blocks between the 2 drills on the top and 4 blocks going up and down. All the drills are at the very corner of the creation, which is going to be just better for maneuvering in mining tunnels and things like that. So beyond that, still interior cockpit. It's got a big glass display. Another thing I was trying to deal with big time here is the lighting when you're in a mining tunnel, especially when it's dark outside. So this one, I put in 2 spotlights, and they are recessed back from the front of the creation a few blocks here. Looks, I think I'm missing a texture right there. Guess I'm not fully done with it. But there's one. At first I had one on the bottom side, and that was cool when I was testing this out mining. It would light up the bottom, but the top side would be pitch black. So then I added a second one on the top to balance it off. So basically it makes the lighting a whole lot better when you're in a mining tunnel. Some other things here too. I got rid of the ramp completely, and now it's got this little jump platform, and I made it so you can really jump up there very easily. You don't even need a jetpack on. You can just hop up there. There's nothing up here to trip you up or knock you off here, so you no longer have to deal with a ramp opening up or closing. Another issue or thing that's different on this one, it comes stock with a constructor in it, and the power is set up to deal with that, so you can mine and run the constructor at the same time with this one. So you do have basically one little baby generator in here and one normal size generator. But you can replace the baby generator and put in a normal improved generator, and then you can actually add in another one beyond that. So it has the same upgrade path as well as the SCM over there. So you can put in a pentaxa tank. A shield goes over the top of this area, and then you can add 2 basic CPU cores. And on the other side, you also have a location to add a trauma station. Now, it has enough CPU available for it to add the trauma station right off the gates. The only reason I don't have it in here is it raises the unlock level to 12 instead of 10, and would require a smidgen of titanium, which I'm trying to make it, as easy to get in as possible. So there is that. Now, another difference here, and I didn't really cover this quite yet, is this one does have more thrust power than the SCM as well. The lift thrust, it's got a total of 6 of the medium lift thrusters, where this one actually had 4 and then 1 baby lift thruster. So it's got a little bit more lift thrust. This one also had 4 medium thrusters going forward, where this one has 5. You notice there's another 5th thruster up in the top over there. So it's got a little bit more power, both with forward and lift. Also, I increased the harvest capacity a little bit to 6,500. I was actually going to take this to 7,000, but I just can't fit any more container extensions in it. The room inside of here is at a premium, and it's like I was really trying to figure out how to get more stuff in here, but I just can't really fit anything more and have a little bit of walking space in the back of the Creation at least. Another issue I was trying to deal with here is preventing the player from being able to get out to the right side of the seat. So I really kind of put more stuff here to really kind of wall that area off over here. So it will not let you get out of that side of the seat and get stuck over there anymore. So that's another thing I wanted to deal with. So now where this thing really shines, though, if you've been watching the videos, you notice that I did often get tripped up in mining holes where I'd have to wiggle around a lot, or in some cases even get out and drill away some things so I could get stuck, like I was stuck in the snow or something like that. And this one mines like a son of a gun. This is definitely my going to be my new go-to miner here. Let me get the stuff on here. I'm going to do one other thing while I'm mining. I believe I got some options in here, so I'm going to turn on the constructor, and I believe the constructor is actually here. I'll check that out a second here too. It should be actively processing things right now, and it is. So I just basically threw in a bunch of stuff in the for it to process, so it's just making some silicon right now, but I'll have it do that while I'm actually mining as well here. But as in mining, let's get closer to this here. And one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it just nighttime, so it's really dark outside as well. And we're also going to turn on the mining lights, or the spotlights here. But mining in this one, first you can see it does illuminate the area in front of you quite a bit better. You still get a little bit of shadows off to the side, but this one just does not get tripped up in mining holes. In fact, you can kind of come down at any angle and just kind of twist right around, and it's like good. Basically I haven't been able to get this one stuck whatsoever, just mining like an idiot too. I mean, not even trying to make a nice mining hole when you get into a ore deposit at all. Another advantage to this one is because of the spread of the drills, you're actually mining more surface or more area at one time. So it's just a faster miner. If you look at the amount of stone I'm picking up just moving forward, it would be more so than what the other miner would do. And then I'm just never stuck. So yeah, it's just really, really easy to get around and mine in this one. You can see better when you're doing it. And you really just can't get stuck very easily on this one at all. So basically I'm super happy with it. And if you notice too, I've been mining well, operating the constructor, and if you take a look at the power down there, I think the worst it got to is about 86%, like right there. And that's pretty much what it does. So yeah, there is that. And I just got to figure out how to get back out of my mining hole. Maybe I should just go. I think I'm upside down is what's going on here. That happens a lot. But here, let's try to go upward and out of the mining hole again here. Should be able to do that pretty quickly. I don't even know how far down I went. I guess I went pretty far down. Holy smokes. Yeah, I think we're getting to the surface now. So other than that, yeah, just definitely like it. It's got more power. It will have no problem moving around a full load of, harvest stuff. Really doesn't have that issue. This one was easier to build because I already had built the other miners. Let me get back into God mode here a second. I'll turn the lights back on. Yeah, so that's kind of where this one's at, and I'm gonna once I'm gonna get into some gameplay here in a little while. Still waiting on my new microphone, so that will hopefully help a lot too. And I'll have a standalone microphone, so then I can use a headset here good in the game, and hopefully the audio just gets better with voice and things like that. But yeah, I'm really liking this thing. So now, where the heck did I even go? I'm way over here. Oh, look, there's a building out there. Here, I'm going to fly this back, and we'll compare specs to the SCM a second here. I didn't really go over the stats of this thing yet. But yeah, definitely liking this one. This is, it works, I think, especially for mining, and basically everything that it does it a whole lot better than the SCM. Plus, again, upgrade path, same idea. You can add a shield to it. You can... it does have a slot up here where you could add in a turret as well. You'll have enough CPU if you put in the 2 basic CPU cores to put in the shield and a turret. And you'll probably even have some extra CPU left over beyond that. But not quite enough for another full gun. So that's kind of a weird thing there. Here, I'll turn off the spotlights here again. So specs. First of all, let's take a look at the SCM. So the SCM was unlock level 10, 17-minute, 25-second build time. You can take a look at its motions and things like that as well. The new miner is a little bit faster. So this one, biggest stat on here is carbon substrate, but just keep in mind mainly the build time. Both miners are the same unlock level and relatively the same resource costs, except this one's a little bit more, especially in the cobalt department, and a little bit more carbon. But 19-minute and 44-second build time on this one, unlock level 10. It will need 43 cobalt, so it does need more cobalt, mainly due to the 4th drill plus the constructor on here. But yeah, I don't really see a problem of getting this one in versus the other one. Again, they're very, very similar in price, but as a actual miner, plus it has the functionality of having a built-in constructor, this thing just destroys the other miner. I think I'd literally be able to get ore deposits 2 to 3 times faster with this newer one, and not get tripped up or stuck in the mining holes or anything like that. And it just, with the bore radius over here as well, it's just better at doing that. It doesn't have anything going on beyond the drills on any direction. It does everything else the other miner does. So yeah, it's going to be my new go-to miner, I think, for Reforged Eden 2. So this is kind of a priority of one I do want to get out to the workshop first. So in addition to all the UC creations, I also got this one to deal with, and this one is kind of the most important one to me. This one did take a little while to build, but it was really helpful building these other miners. Like the SMX here, I didn't release, and I don't think I'm going to at this point. It was the first miner, or the first build I tried to do in Reforged Eden 2, learning the specs and stats. And what had happened to this miner as well is when I built it, the CPU numbers have changed, and it's actually got more CPU available to it than what it did have originally. But it does it, I'd have to kind of retweak and rebuild the whole thing to make it work with that. And then I kind of wanted to have an upgrade path, so you could get in a shield and deal with weapons or something like that. And it just, there's just no point on it. I don't really see any use for this build at all. I'd much rather go with that new one over here. It just kicks its butt in pretty much every spec. This one still, the only advantage this one has over this one is it does have 2 guns. So it does have twice the DPS. One other thing I wanted to bring up too, I was kind of looking at like the descriptions of all the weapons, and the Gatling like turret or guns and things like that. their perk is they do 50% damage to drones and like ground troops, which is perfect for this build. I looked at the idea of like trying laser or plasma or some other kind of gun on it, and yeah, I ended up going right back to the Gatling gun. I think it's just the best way to go for what this is trying to do. Basically, just shoot up drones and ground forces that might be near a mining node, basically. So I think I got the right choice of gun on here too. So there is that. So one other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is in a past video a little while back, I kind of modified this Plutus M2 here so it could be used in Reforged Eden 2. And then I said I was going to get it out to the workshop. Then I totally forgot about that. So I was asked about this if I ever did get this out to the workshop, and I didn't. But now I also noticed, too, it's got a CPU, I wouldn't say a bad issue, but it's got a CPU issue where it's got more CPU than it actually needs at this point in time. So I think what I would want to do is kind of figure out if I can remove some CPU out of it to lessen the cost of this build a little bit. And my plans on this one is to put it as an unlisted build and link it to the Plutus M2 Steam Workshop post. So you can get an RE2 version there, and I don't have to do a new release of this or anything like that. So that is kind of where I'm at with all these different builds. I'm looking forward to more playthrough of the game that I definitely plan on doing today here, probably pretty soon. I'm going to hold off for a little bit. I want to see if I can get that mic in, if it shows up at a reasonable time, and I can get that hooked up and try that out. If not, I'll just use this, or I'll use the other headset, which I know the audio is not very good on it, or the voice audio is not very good on that. So there is that. But I just wanted to do an update video and try to answer some of these questions. And I know I didn't really commit yet to get these UC creations out to the workshop. I just want to figure out a way to do that. There's literally, if I were to release all this stuff, that's like four releases. If I go with the Merc UC, the Scarab UC, and this new miner, and the Camp UC, that's a lot of releases at once, and I don't want them to all screw up the workshop or anything like that. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't like to release too much too quickly, and things like that. This one I'm not worried about because it's not a new build, and I can just kind of do a unlisted link. But the other four are more of a problem. And again, like I said, I don't really want to release this one. It's already outdated. It's like an old miner. I never did release it. I went on to this one, and now on to this one, and I just don't even see any point of having that SMX ever get out to the workshop. I would never use it myself. Definitely go with this one. And speaking of price, even on the difference in price between this one and the new one, this one's actually like slightly more expensive than the other one, except for the cobalt usage. It's about 16 less cobalt on it, or something like that, or 11 maybe. But yeah, I want this one. It holds a little bit more cargo. I think, if I remember, this one is doing 9K of harvest storage, but it can barely move that. I mean, barely move that, which is a burden. This one, I believe you can fill it up and hit top speed moving forward, and also you got a fair amount of lift speed or lift power as well with it. So just a better way to go all the way around. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in the video here. And I got to figure out how to do all these releases. But again, probably the most priority release would probably be this one, which I'm thinking about trying to release maybe tomorrow. I wanted to use it today in gameplay and see if there's any more issues with it. See if there's something that I'm unaware of right now that comes up. And if not, it's all good to go, except for this missing texture right here. This is bad. Let's give it a vent. Yeah, there you go. You got a vent there now. So that is about it. Other than that, yeah, I will probably start playing the game here pretty soon too. I wanted to do some more progress in the game on the Anvil server. I think the last thing I did is run this a little bit older version of this camp UC in a mining shaft, and then I actually ended up doing this weird thing where I could add a solar panel to the surface, so I could keep the fridge running indefinitely, and turn off everything else and not go through power and not lose any food or crops I've picked out on the countryside that I normally lose every time I play on a server. It'll eventually lead to hopefully building food and things like that, and then I can work my way up to probably getting in the Makar again on this Anvil playthrough. Other than that, y'all have yourself a great day, and I will talk to you later.